I want to start this podcast by saying I do not want to interfere with anyone's business or fun. But if you guys want to interfere with me monologuing off of this note card, you guys go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
I do not want to point fingers at Resurrection Games and especially none of the artists involved. I want to say good luck to Resurrection Games. I hope you get this sorted out and this is just a negligible bump in the road for you. I will never tell anyone to not buy the Saturday Wars card game. If you're really into Saturday AM as a concept, if the concept of diverse manga overrides any ethical implications related to AI art, that is your business. But for me, this is a big deal. I don't know who in the production process got duped here, but I know I feel very hurt realizing I've been talking about an AI card game. If this is your first time here, on the last episode of this podcast, I discovered the Saturday Wars card game was using AI assets in their card game art. Between the time I recorded that episode and right now, I found a lot more AI. It's made me incredibly paranoid about what is and isn't AI in this game, and I don't want to point fingers. But a lot of the jankiness in this game could be explained if a chunk of this was written with AI. I am not saying the game itself was AI written, since Resurrection Games claims that it wasn't, but I'll get to their statement on the issue in a little bit. And I don't want any gotchas, so I will say I have played with AI art before. I used it to help me write my terms of service for commission art. I follow AI artists on DeviantArt. I have said to people in the past, especially people who have commissioned me, if there's something about my art that you don't like, you can hire another artist to touch it up or fix it in AI. I do not care. What happens to my art after I post it does not matter to me. I don't want that being taken out of context. I was thinking of this more for individual personal consumption and enjoyment of the art. So I'm imagining, what if I was approached by a card game company and they said they wanted to use my manga art for their game? I would say, that sounds cool, I'm in. But if the final product had a bunch of AI slop, I would be fucking furious. It would make my art look cheap. OEL manga already has a hard enough time being seen as real manga, and if it's going to be surrounded by AI assets, it's going to degrade the movement. This is something I take very seriously as a foreigner who works within the Japanese manga ecosystem. I want the OEL manga movement propped up. I want more foreigners in manga. I want more diversity in manga. AI art in your diverse manga card game makes you look shitty and gives people more of a reason to dismiss you. I have been very public in the past about how I want to support this game financially, and I cannot do that unless I know there is no AI art. I feel like I have to walk back a lot of the support I've given for this card game until they could show there is no AI. The trickery is what's really getting in my head. If I was asked to review the AI waifu card game, Goddess the Convergence, which is very open about their AI art use, I would be more okay with that. I wouldn't feel like I'm being duped. What's more is I don't have as big of a personal emotional stake in what they represent. Someone fucking around with international manga hits me a lot harder emotionally. So I want to read what Resurrection Games said in their public Discord. They said it's okay to repost screenshots as long as you are being kind. And I'm trying to do this with kindness. So it's not just me freaking out over AI. I want you to hear their explanation, and I don't want anyone messing with anyone involved. Got to give that usual, hey, don't harass disclaimer, but if you don't believe me, their Discord is public and open to anyone. So in the official server, Resurrection Games shared this podcast. Congratulations, everyone. We made it. We have been noticed.
Whoa.
I said thank you for sharing. Thanks for being so cool with getting feedback. And eventually I said, the strongest feedback I can say is I hope there's no AI art in the final product. Resurrection Games replied with this. We are committed to making this project about the art and the artist. That's why we've done things like included the artist signature on every card and have the open call for submissions for artists to submit their ideas. All the cards from set 1 are either original art pieces or colored/extended versions of panels from the manga. We couldn't have made this set without the hard work of those artists and colorists, many of whom are here in this Discord. End quote. Now notice they didn't confirm or deny the use of AI. They just said they're about the artist. It's very clear that this card game is using a lot of bad AI assets. So kind of slightly pivot from that, and I asked, was AI used to help generate ideas for the game? And I added, I'm asking for my own personal curiosity about the creative process, not trying to start a debate. And they replied, so funny story about this, ... We actually, at one point, plugged the rulebook and all of the cards into an AI model to see if it could come up with some unique card combinations or decks we could try out in playtesting. It did not go well. AI kept trying to come up with cards and game mechanics that did not exist. and it kept trying to incorporate rules and ideas from Magic the Gathering, which is not a good comparison because this game is very different from Magic the Gathering. In the end, we gave up and went back to our usual methods of playtesting with focus groups and getting some advanced players to build out decks, ideas, and concepts. End quote. So, what's your guys' take on this?
I mean, like, that thing you said about DeviantArt, AI profiles, like, I've twiddled the bean to AI art. Like, it's all good. It's fine. Like, I understand it. I understand that, like, for some people, that is just, what's appealing to them. But what is sad about this here is, like, when I came on this podcast for the first episode, and I had a lovely time, and it's an honor to know that they actually watched it, I praised them on the basis that I was praising the art because I thought that meant it would be encouraging real artists. I thought it meant that, if I say this panel from, any one number of them, I'm not going to call out one specifically because I know we're going to get into that. If I said this panel from any one of these looked good on this card, then I thought that was going to be going praise to real artists. So to know that, like, potentially some of these cards are just AI art, it almost makes me feel like, wow, I actually feel like a dumbass for the amount of depth that I looked into the art. Like, I was the art analysis guy last time, and I straight up feel duped. And I hope that it's not true because I don't want to feel duped. I don't feel good about feeling that way. So yeah, hopefully not AI.
Chroma, do you have any thoughts about the AI?
I get using AI in like the first draft, right? Right, for like the backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's one particular card you plugged into an AI checker, right?
Yeah.
And like, right, and it came, and like, I think it came back with like, yeah, this whole piece is AI, or a significant chunk of it is. And if you're doing whole pieces with AI, that's,
yeah, like I said, it just seeing the AI backgrounds and assets, like I said, it has made me very paranoid about what is real and what is fake. I guess we should stop beating around the bush and say it. We have suspicions that Arclight Phoenix was an AI drawing, which is not something I say lightly because false AI accusations are very serious for an artist. So if that artist is out somewhere and they lovingly painted Arclight Phoenix with all of their heart, I'm very sorry. And I guess every podcast we do is just gonna have to start with an apology. But Arclight Phoenix, like we last 2 episodes ago, we really went on about how much we love the art.
Yeah.
It might be AI. I put it through. I know AI art checkers can have false positives. That one unanimously through every AI art checker said it was AI, and I went through some and I checked it by running through some Saturday Wars cards that I know were hand drawn. Some of the apple black ones that were done with Copic colored markers. So 100%, I know a human drew this, and I'll put the results on screen, so I'm not just rambling about the process. But there's reason to suspect that Arclight Phoenix was an AI fabrication, which makes me very sad. What's more is Arclight Phoenix is the name of a magic card, and in the Clock Striker manga, there is no point where that character meets the Arclight Phoenix.
Oh,
why? Yeah. I went through volumes 1 and 2 of Clock Striker. I know that there are some chapters that have not been collected into a tankobon, but where volume 2 leaves off and the most recent one on the Saturday AM website, they're all like in an underground mine or something. I don't know. It's not a good spot for the Arclight Phoenix to be summoned. So I don't know what to make of that. It's also like Arclight Phoenix as a concept, that's not like a big thing in like mythology or nerd culture. I can only find instances of that in Magic the Gathering, which again, I might be wrong. I might be off. I'm really going out of my way to not jump to conclusions, but I have some questions about the inception of this card, why you chose to make the character meet Arclight Phoenix when she doesn't in the manga. When I looked through that mangaka's Instagram, there's no instances of him drawing that card. So what's going on? Why did you pick that, like, for her to meet this Magic the Gathering character?
Yeah, that's not good. I was about to ask, have we read the manga? It sounds like you've checked. You've checked the 4 available volumes or whatever it was. I haven't been able to find. I think it's 4.
The 2.
Oh, it's 2. Okay, 2.
I'll send I will send the Arclight Phoenix card in the chat, the Magic the Gathering one, so you guys can compare it with the Clock Striker Arclight Phoenix. Yeah, this feels shitty. I'll just say that.
My thought process when I make this kind of, observation, when things seem fishy, when it smells like AI and not the good kind of AI, they're like hot robot boyfriends. It's like, I think to check every single, source that I can. And it sounds like you did that. About the 2-volume manga, and that Arclight Phoenix is not a character. This is not a scene. There's no scene where she has the magical Final Fantasy Fire Phoenix coming down to her hand. That seems like it would be a pretty big moment. And even just me, I'm an outsider. I look at this whole English language Saturday Wars manga circle, and I want to be positive because I think manga is cool in general. I'm reading the volume descriptions, and they're pretty detailed volume descriptions about she ends up in this town next, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read them out loud, but the volume descriptions do not mention a phoenix either. So I definitely am getting the idea that, the phoenix does not appear. So that's not good.
I want to know, since they said that they didn't use AI to help generate ideas for the cards or the mechanisms, why this one? Why did you think of this? Because once I realized that, okay, a lot of these cards have AI background art, my mind started going could they have used AI to just write up this whole card game? Which is, again, that's a pretty bold claim, which is why I asked them directly, did you use AI? And they said no, so I guess I have to believe them. But on the art aspect, Lucario, I feel like you would have a better eye for detecting AI. I know the eyes, I ran it through the detectors. There is some, the eyes on the drawing of Clock Striker Arclight Phoenix. It's they're not making eye contact, which
right.
I did. Yeah. Her robot hand, which is not facing the camera, it cuts off at a weird way, and I don't know, and the background's just a bunch of gobbledygook. I don't know what's going on.
I think I've just found some damning evidence as the artist, person, and the art talk about her person.
Yes.
So the way that this mangaka, the English mangaka, renders the character is very different than how she appears in the card, which wouldn't just mean to me that this card is not drawn by the actual creator. I would even go so far that I don't think that a human would draw the character this way. So if you look at any concept art of Clock Striker, the main character's eyes are very polygonal. It almost reminds me of a PS1 game like Mega Man Legends. Yeah. And they're polygonal. Yeah. So what I mean is literally literally the eyelashes, the part that is attached to the white of the eye, it's drawn polygonally. So it's like an octagon. But in this image, her eyes are purely circular, like a more realistic render of a human. Almost as if this was AI, it would be drawing from, more realistic drawings and paintings of humans and making it look more human eye. It's not a stylish shonen eye, boy eye, a stylish shonen protag eye. It's like a human eyes. And even worse, the nose is also more humanoid and given more depth and shape. Whereas in all of these sideways views and side profile views I'm seeing in the Clock Striker manga are drawing the nose as a traditional shaded hatch thing. It's the nose isn't drawn with realistic depth. It's drawn with kind of a sketch style. I'm sure that any cover page of Clock Striker you could put on screen right now to communicate to our viewers what I mean. It's more polygonal and it's more shonen sketch style, whereas this illustration is aiming for more realistic eyes, more realistic nose. And then I gotta be honest, the damning thing is the eyebrows. This mangaka draws small eyebrows. The girl has very small ones. She has little small eyebrows above the eyes. And these are big, long eyebrows. And there also is a very strange artifacting going on right kind of below the eyebrows. Do you see that weird black line that's kind of not exactly the eyelash?
Oh, yeah.
That's not good. That's not good.
Oh, no.
And the gobbledygook background, like you said, the kind of weird nothing in this background, that's also not good.
Yeah. Man, we spent so much time this time saying like, oh, this is the most beautiful card, man. We got we got played.
We did get played.
Oh, now Chroma, you know more about Magic. How would you say the ability of Arclight Phoenix in Saturday Wars compares with the Arclight Phoenix in Magic: The Gathering?
I mean, not really at all.
Okay.
First of all, Arclight Phoenix in Magic is a creature, right? It's a minion, it's a monster. Goes on the battlefield, right? The Arclight Phoenix in Saturday Wars would be more like an enchantment in Magic, right? It goes on the field, it's a lasting effect. You don't kill it like a creature.
Yeah.
So first of all, completely different card types. They act very differently. And the effect is here all enduring effects are canceled, right? Anything that lasts between chapters is canceled.
Yeah.
Versus Magic is just a creature that comes back from the graveyard. Right, it just comes back like a phoenix because it's a phoenix.
Yeah. Now, I would like to read a statement from Ricky from Planet Fitness, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Because we're just wondering how much of this game is AI. So, he started to crunch some numbers, and this is what he said. He's still in the middle of the data crunching. I could send you what he's done so far. And so Ricky says, preliminary data splits most card abilities into two camps: convoluted, as in messy human-style writing with unclear rules, and generic, clean, simple rules that scream AI generated. So far, convoluted abilities strongly tied to grammatical errors, classic human slip-ups. I suspect generic abilities are more likely to mismatch their cards' themes, an AI flub, but I'm still crunching the numbers to confirm. My theory: human traits like typos and tangles will cluster together, just like AI's bland but correct traits will, showing that this card's game's quirks follow a distinct pattern. And he says, please let me know if you see any of the patterns and the mistakes in the cards or the variables to look for. So he sent me some examples. I'll send you a screenshot, but basically there's cards where the picture doesn't really match the text. And in those instances, it's a very sterile ability that it can do. So more likely to be AI.
I mean, Arclight Phoenix is a great example of that. It's a Phoenix that makes enduring effects go away, which is kind of the opposite of the flavor you want for a Phoenix.
Again, this might be nothing. Again, Resurrection Games has said that was not what they did. So look, this is just Ricky playing with numbers. I gotta really cover my ass, okay?
Yeah.
I really don't want to be too accusatory, but these are interesting patterns. I'll send you those screenshots now, so you can look over them yourself. I will be interested in his final data set when that is done from volume 1, if there is any kind of correlation that comes up, because again, we know it's all human written. But it will be interesting to see what patterns come up.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm checking them out right now.
Ooh, I don't understand those numbers at all.
So on screen, I'll narrate what I just sent. So Ricky's example is Form and Alliance. Form and Alliance has typos and matches the picture on the card. Both are human traits.
It sure does have typos.
Yeah, it says
chooses.
Yeah, each player chooses and take control. Yeah.
Chooses.
The war chooses. Next, he sends, the war is far from over. This appears to be AI. The text makes sense and is grammatically correct. The ability matches the written title, but it conflicts with the image of Sano being exhausted. That one's a little debatable, but I see what he's getting at. So next is Keycraft Discovery. This is human made. The image, name, and ability match up, but they didn't add shuffle. AI will always tell you to shuffle afterwards. And last for his last example was Sano the Trinity, and his ability is if you have two other Apple Black characters in play, draw one card. He says this looks like AI. The ability is nearly impossible to activate. An AI error. The ability does not match with the picture. AI error. The ability matches with the text, but in the wrong way. The Trinity refers to the symbol, does not refer to a trinity of characters, Sano and two allies, which would be an AI error. If it was, again, Ricky's pretty crazy. He's pretty doped out, going down to Planet Fitness every day, injecting God knows what. So
And I mean, he does have to be every Ricky at every Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
That too.
So he's a busy guy.
Yes, exactly. I did want to read some comments from the last episode. If there's anything else from Arclight Phoenix that you wanted to add before we move on.
Yeah, I do want to say that the Phoenix itself on the card is similar to the art of the Phoenix on the Magic the Gathering card. Vaguely, no. Which that's really the closest comparison between them besides the name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really that close.
I gotta say, like, if this is the only Arclight Phoenix that pops up, I have a lot of questions why.
It might be a coincidence, but also I'm going to assume it's a coincidence. If you've ever tried to find a Google whack, a pair of words that only has one Google result, you'll find some weird ass coincidences.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
It's not far fetched to think this is a coincidence.
That's true. But I do wonder who drew this card.
Yeah.
Okay,
the light source is also a bit confusing, the light source, because AI always struggles on figuring out where the light is coming from. They just kind of put fancy light effects on everything without considering light source.
It kind of looks like it's coming from behind, but there's no.
Also, why is the glove lighting up? Is the part that's tripping me out. Her glove on her other side of her body is lighting up. Where is that light source? Yeah.
You look at the Phoenix's wing, it cuts off at a weird spot. It looks like they didn't align it, which is very odd. And then you see that same cut strangeness underneath her hair in the background. There's a lot of yeah.
Why does one of her hair curls kind of end right below her ear, and then curls that are being lit up are right behind it? You see what I mean? There's a hair curl that is practically super short. It practically ends right behind her ear.
I'm not interested in making a witch hunt campaign. If this is someone that's been on and off doing volunteer work for this company, and one day they're like, hey, I have this stack of 100 cards for you to color in. Can you do this for me? And they say yes, and they use a little AI to speed up the process. I mean, look, if they're not paying, I guess I get it, but that again, that's just shitty. It's just shitty
sentence, and in that situation, the one at fault would be the company. Ultimately, if they choose to use it and sell it.
Yeah. This is why it's just got me so fired up. I just really don't want OEL manga to look and feel cheap, and it already has all these big barriers in the way. So it's just such a shitty situation. Which again, I don't blame any of the colorists involved who might have used AI. Really, I really, really, really do not want them to feel like I'm calling them out.
Yeah, effective in you not coming off that way. I think at the end of the day, when this gets published, it's we're kickstarting it, we're getting people to support it. When it gets released, the person who would negatively be affected on is the one who decides to publish that work. It's the same way as if you're making a reanimated project and inappropriate imagery slips in there, like a naked person or something in your reanimated project of SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm memeing. That didn't happen. The SpongeBob reanimated people are lovely. I'm just creating a hypothetical. That would not be the fault of specifically just someone who drew the naked picture. It would kind of be the fault of the project manager who didn't look over their submissions. Because for all you know, the person who gave you a submission could have accidentally sent their tax info, and you just published your tax info in your video. So it reflects negatively on the person managing the project, or even just the company as a whole. I don't want to call out any specific Saturday Wars card game creator person. It's not really about a creator. It's about the company and the management. So yeah, that would be my thoughts.
Because
this is a commercial project.
Which is why in my last video, it's look, maybe you got duped and you didn't realize, because I know not everyone is going to have the eye to detect AI art, which if you don't mind, I want to read one of the comments on the last episode. and move into that. So Sire Forsetti
Yeah.
says, hell, even the characters are AI. Klaus got colored with Clip Studio Paint's AI auto color tool or something. There's weird artifacts from it. Now, I don't believe the art itself was AI, but it is pretty clearly an AI color job, which, you know, is a bummer. If you look at the button on his shirt, that looks a little janky.
Yeah, the one on the left.
Yeah. Every other button looks normal, and then that one is like weird, rustic, like it's rusting.
Yeah. There's also a lot on the actual Gamefound page. That was like one of the biggest ones that I found after I recorded was on the Gamefound.
Oh my gosh, the collar makes no sense. When you have a buttoned up a collar like this that's supposed to be like, you know, a buttoned up collar that has the collar and then it has kind of a V neck, of a V cut. There's supposed to be like more to it there. What it looks like right now, it's kind of like someone just like haphazardly scissored a V shape into a collar with no buttons on it. Like it looks like they just kind of chopped off a piece of a completely flat collar, like a turtleneck.
Also, like the fabric doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like on the left side of the collar, you can see the way it's folded over itself doesn't actually physically make sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see right. It has this weird Mobius strip thing going on.
Yeah.
Which
I'm sure that in a sketch, it probably looked okay because it was just a pencil sketch. But then if you AI color it, then it leads to this weird Mobius strip.
Although, of course,
so this was
stuff like that happens in human coloring too. But
yeah,
you know, this was on the Gamefound page for Soulbeat. They put a pretty egregious AI background for the tie-in merch for this. It's a pretty good-looking traditional drawing of the character in his car, and they just put an AI background on just around him. And this is what I mean when I say like, oh, I would be pissed the fuck off if somebody did this to my art.
Yeah,
it's just like if I rendered something like this and then I get the final product and they just add this garbage, I would be so fucking mad. Like the artist, like I assume they're under like some kind of contract. So I again, or maybe I shouldn't assume anything. You know, assuming will get me in trouble.
No, I'm with you. That's an AI background on the Soul Man. The Soul Man character looks amazing. The guy in the back looks cool. Exactly. I like the guy in the back. He kind of reminds me of like this is weird, but he reminds me a little bit of like Iron Giant character designs, like the kind of long chins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks cool, and then the AI background just ruined it. Or not ruined it, but, you know, just like it takes down the integrity, you know? It's like it's such a good image, and then it ruins that.
Yeah, then we got, we also have the same dealio in the Clock Striker merch that they're selling. There's a big AI clock gear mechanism behind the Clock Striker art. If you look, it looks like the gear has like a leather texture, so I think that's what you would get if you just type in steampunk. Which
yeah, and see, you can see what I mean about her polygonal eyes. She almost has like PS1 looking eyes. That doesn't look like the image at all.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I see the gear in the background, and it kind of looks more like a dragon's eye, right? Like the texture of the gear and what's around it look kind of scaly, right?
Yeah.
And it just doesn't look like a gear.
Yeah, it looks pretty funky. And it's one of those, like, you know, if you want to argue for, oh, I'm using AI to color, that's okay. Like, I'm using AI for backgrounds, that's okay. Like, but it's like, well, if you're selling like a whole like mat and like card sleeves and all these little doodads and add-ons, the AI just makes it look bad. But those are the two really big ones that I found. And then there was more just in the card game. I want to read some more comments. I did promise everyone like that we would read our favorite comments.
Sweet.
If you're gonna sell a game on the art, right, you're gonna put these big golden signatures on the card of the person who, right, know, the person who right, whose manga you're taking panels from for these cards, and so presumably who drew these cards.
Yes,
is the implication, and then as far as anyone can tell, they didn't draw that. It really undermines the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. If it's like, hey, we want to celebrate these art, it's like, well, now when I look at this artist's art in the context of this card game, I think that like, oh, you just use shitty AI art, which like I know that's not true. I know it's like somebody else coloring and finalizing this. It sucks. So the pinned comment on the last video made a great point. So Lucky Munkers said, ignoring the unethical issues with using AI art for a TCG card game, it also just doesn't look very good. The backgrounds are filled with AI artifacts and weird blurry messes, and in a TCG game where one of the main selling points, if not the main selling point, is art, having something as important as backgrounds being half-baked and messy along with not even having enough effort to put into them is a big issue. Big agree on that. The Millanias says a similar point. The fact that MetaZoo, the indie turned gripped NFT card game that died recently, didn't use AI slop, says a lot about Saturday Wars quality LMAO. Which, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, MetaZoo is a fucking saga.
It's the first time hearing about it, but
yeah. No, yeah. It was like, it started out pretty well regarded, and then they started doing NFT shit, basically.
Oh, no.
And like, it looked pretty cool. I never got into it. I never looked too deep into it.
Yeah.
Before all the NFT stuff happened. But it did yeah, look, NFTs are way worse than the generative AI.
Yeah.
Using generative AI instead of human artists for something that's being sold is pretty bad, but NFTs are worse.
Agreed.
Oh god. There's no fucking reason to fucking make an NFT card game. Just don't.
No. I mean, there's no reason to use AI art in your card game. Like, just don't make a card game if you can't afford somebody to it, especially if the point is like, we're celebrating artists, then okay, then you got to pay an artist to touch it up well enough. So Oldest Charm in the comment section says they probably should have sorted out their finances if that's all they can afford, which, yes, agreed. If you don't have the money to pay your artist, just don't make a card game. It's like the fact that it like they're doing the Kickstarter.
Yeah, they're doing the Kickstarter to fund the print run, right?
Yeah. Like, I assume the cards are all done. I don't have a lot of hope that they'll correct the AI oopsie doodles.
Yeah.
In their Discord, they were talking about how like, oh, we're just waiting to hear back from our printer guy, and it's like, well, so that tells me that it's all done. That like, maybe best case scenario is the quick start guide will get some typos fixed in the final version. It looks like all of the cards themselves are done, which
is unfortunate.
Yes, it is unfortunate. Were there any comments that you guys wanted to read? Anything that stood out? I saw that you, Chroma, that you replied to one of the comments that caught something.
I made a bit of a mistake in the last video, which is I was talking about one story of one thing that happened in a Magic tournament, right?
Yeah.
Right. And what I said was basically, this guy was trying to tutor, right, search up a card from was trying to tutor a card from his deck. And
do you mind if I read the comment in
question? Read it.
Yeah. So Janie Gamercox says, glad you caught the no shuffling, but that is also how it's worded in Magic. Dark Tutor has you search for a card, then shuffle, and it means you choose the card. There are cards that have you name and then flip from the top of your deck until you find it, if I recall correctly, but naming isn't used in tutoring. The Borborygmos event happened with Pithing Needles, which doesn't involve tutoring. Okay. So thank you for the correction. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so Pithing Needle is it's basically you name a card and your opponent can't use it pretty much. Right? It shuts down abilities on the card. So the person who was using Pithing Needle said Borborygmos instead of Borborygmos Enraged, and the judges ruled that it fizzled because of that.
There was another cool comment related to the mechanisms. Millania comments, I love the "This is how Magic the Gathering does it" section on the table, because as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I kind of hate I can read the effects and make sense thinking how the effect works in that format, and all of these either bannably broken or shit ass. Break the Ivory Tower, for example, is worded in a way it makes it seem the effect triggers after every card draw 2 more, send 1 from those 2 to the graveyard, and that's broken as fuck. Imagine you have 3 cards with effects simply to draw 1. This chapter card makes them draw 6 with graveyard setup for free. I always appreciate hearing the perspective from more advanced card game players, so thank you.
I totally agree.
Yeah. I realized I didn't mention the card advantage issue when we were talking about that card. I was just talking about the resource aspect, but yeah, drawing however many cards into your hand for free is not good.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing to put in your game. It's right. It's like right. This card isn't in your main deck, so it's not taking up space that would otherwise be taken by something else. Right. You don't have to worry about drawing it from your main deck.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's one of 5 in your chapter deck, and do you put the chapter onto the field just off the top of the deck, or do you choose which one you put down? I assume it's the former.
You choose which chapter card you want to
play. Oh God. Oh no. That makes it so much worse.
Which card from your boy deck? Shout out to all the comments about that, by the way.
Yes, I did love that. That was one of my favorite comments.
You choose which chapter card to put down from the chapter deck.
Whoever lost the last whoever lost the last round gets to pick which chapter card they play.
Oh no. Yeah, so basically how this card would work is you'd play this when you have a really big high cost card in your hand that you want to play. And you put down this chapter, and you play that card, and you get it in for free. And instead of paying anything for that, you just draw that many cards into your hand. Yeah, retrieving goes into your hand, right?
Wait, no, retrieving. I think retrieving you go from the purge pile to your boy deck.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind. You don't draw into your hand. So
yeah, retrieving is a specific mechanism that they've defined in the 20-some page quick start guide.
Yeah. I mean, you're still basically cheating something out for free, and setting back your deck timer a bit.
Yeah. Were there any more comments that you guys wanted to read?
I just wanted to say, very good comments on the video. Thank you everyone who submitted ones. A lot of really funny ones from people. A lot of great profile pics among them. From Funky Studios 12. Funky Studios 12 has a really cool profile pic, which reminds me of this one manga called Odumadaki Zoo by the same mangaka as My Hero Academia.
Oh my god, I was thinking that, yes!
Yes, so pretty. I love him.
I gotta do the soy jack point whenever that manga's mentioned.
I'm so happy you know it as well. The furries in that are so cute.
Yes, it's so good.
And also the one who did
I should say the character designs are so good. There were some rough parts in that manga, but the furry designs, perfect.
Yeah, they're so good. He's amazing at designing furries. I feel like that's why there's like so many cute ones in My Hero as well. Like Principal Nezu is like top tier husbando to me.
Yes, totally.
What a king. I don't even like My Hero, but Nezu, we love Nezu.
Absolutely.
Heck yes.
Great discussion. So keep the comments coming. Thanks all of you, and feel free to share your thoughts on this ongoing issue of AI and its usage.
Yes. Sorry, before I interrupted, Funky Studio 12 says all we need is a fanfic card. Yes, agreed. And my other favorite comment was Sainiko. It says, boy deck is false advertisement. Where's the YAOI homebrew card? Shake my head. Yes. I need more YAOI friendly cards in this game. I want, if you play Regis and Gideon, add your 2 protagonists, you get the power of YAOI, old man YAOI love, and you insta win. I need shit like that.
Yes. Yes, put a power of YAOI token on the field.
Yes.
It does infinite damage, and says win the game.
Now, we did get a comment from Brad Res Games I initially thought that this was somebody who just made a sock puppet to fuck with me. I have had that happen to me before, so I wasn't too sure if this was the real Brad from the real Resurrection Games. But I saw that, but he friended me on Discord. He promoted the podcast in his server, so I'm leaning more towards yes. But I'm still cautious that I'm being duped. But Brad Res Games has great discussion on those chapter cards. Can't wait for the next episode. He did not comment on the next episode, but but I did read their statement on AI said in the Discord. If they want to put out a stronger, more official statement on AI using this game, I'd be happy to include that next time. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
You guys want to move on to the spreadsheet?
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we left off on surprise birthday party.
Although we do have the full card, we do have all the cards now.
Yes.
So maybe we want to go back and fill in the ones that weren't on the spreadsheet.
Unfortunately, haven't been able to touch up on the spreadsheet and get the missing holes yet. I like having the spreadsheet because there's already the notes
right. It is nice to have the spreadsheet so we can get Ricky's input. That is true.
Yeah, I like having his jock voice from afar guiding me in the direction of how Magic does it. If we want to start on the next one on the spreadsheet,
and actually, this is our first character card.
Yeah.
Which means we get to talk about the layout.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
Okay. Card number 21. This is an apple black character with the traits Rebel and Villain. 3 resource, 3 progress for casting, 3 purge cost. And this is Alejandro Lopeth. Has an enduring effect that while challenging a student, Alejandro is +2 progress points.
He hates the students, I suppose. He hates learning.
Okay, while challenging a student, Alejandro is +2. Does that mean the +2 goes away once the challenge is over?
Huh. That's a good point. It's like me and Ricky got really caught up in
student mentor.
Yeah, the student mentor. That was Ricky's what is wrong notes. There was nothing in Magic the Gathering. He says, you don't mind me taking over. A rebel can be effective against both Apple Black and Clock Striker students, but a mentor can only help Apple Black students. So that was like a weird format. That'll be the next card. Goes into that. And I brought it up on a previous episode. And is the character referred to in the effect catalog? And Alejandro is not. We have Alejandro Lopeth, but not just Alejandro. So
yeah,
there is also
all Alejandros are +2. Like
there's also a pretty big typo on this one.
Villian.
Villian. We have a Villian.
We have Villian. Excuse me, Judge. This is not a villain. This is a Villian.
This is a Villian card.
And then the other player goes, well, Alejandro's +2 goes away after the challenge is over because it's while, not when. Right? While challenging Alejandro is +2, not when challenging a student, Alejandro adds +2.
Yeah, this card game makes me into the biggest actually, like I've ever felt in my life. Because it's like Villian, like again, it's like I know what you mean, but how is this going to screw me up later?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Lucari. We got a little off topic since we knew a lot of that would be caught while you stepped away.
That's fine.
So we talked about the mechanics of the card. We were wondering, what is your input on the art and specifically the card layout?
And
Alejandro Lopeth.
Alejandro Lopez. I was about to ask which one do we mean?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
This is why we wanted to wait.
Yeah, he's a Villian.
He's a Villian.
Villian card that's gonna destroy the Department of Education, I guess. Like
he's a rebel. He's a vigilante. It's a very interesting composition. Mainly, I don't know what he's doing. Is that a Minecraft pickaxe?
Oh.
Well, I assume it's looking at the lore box at the bottom. I assume that's Muerta Cera.
Oh, I see. I would say for layout, let us see more of the sword. As Trixie has said many times in her videos about like asterisk 4 and stuff, the reason that people enjoy like media, especially like boy-oriented media, is the cool swords. Like, why do you think Final Fantasy VII is the most popular Final Fantasy? It's the big sword.
It's got the best sword.
It's the Buster sword.
So let us see the sword. If Muddy Furasa is a really cool sword, then I would love to see it because I can't right now.
It's not a great.
We see him attacking a student. So, what was that?
It's not a great choice of panel for this.
Yeah,
the kind of unfortunate ripples of the pants do kind of make him look like he has like a bulge.
Oh my god, it does. It looks like a hyper bulge. Maybe he does. Maybe this is Shonen Manga's first hyper bulge villain. Villian. Oh no. Oh god. I'm gonna feel bad for like picking on the
It's not necessarily that we're picking on the art, we're just picking on its usage in the card game. Like, this is a card that's supposed to like sell cards. Like, kids are supposed to be on the side of, you know, the school, the elementary school. Like, I want your Villian card. His art is so cool. And this is not
Villian card. Villian. Oh no. Now, do you think they'll fix that in the final version? The Villian?
No.
I hope not.
I mean, they haven't fixed Chose as in Take on Foreman Alliance, so...
Got it. Now it feels like a bargaining tactic. Like, okay, you're not going to fix the AI art. Okay, meet me halfway and make Alejandro Lopeth a villain.
That's funny.
Oh.
But yeah, that's basically everything I had to say about that. Thank you for waiting for me to come back.
Of course. We always need your input on the art, always.
Always. Yeah. Yeah, can we talk about the lore in for a bit? Okay.
Yes.
So down at the bottom of the box, right, there's the lore section, right?
Yes.
To the left we have the symbol of whichever manga
Apple Black.
This is from.
Yeah.
Here, this one is Apple Black.
Yeah.
And a little bit of information about this character or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bringer of death and officer of the Banbury rebels. El vato sin vada. One touch from Huerta Cera guarantees death. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for the lore. Most games would do like a little short, pithy flavor text here. Right, like a quote or something. Magic really loves doing weird shit with its Magic really loves its flavor text. Good flavor text should be lore and like a bit of storytelling.
That's true.
This is kind of just like the character's wiki article.
Dude, that is all of Apple Black, is characters reading their own wiki article about and reading other characters' wiki articles. It is a very text dense manga. I am not exaggerating when I say this is the worst published manga I have ever read.
Wow.
I am struggling to think of a self-published that is worse, but I want to put that qualifier on it. Like, so I'm not just like, oh, it's the worst thing. It's like, yeah, maybe if I dug around on Manga Lab, I could find something worse, but it would be difficult because this entire manga is just, it's not people just saying their just character traits and being, and like you said, just reading the wiki. It's just like peacocking around like, I'm so fucking tough, I could beat up this guy. And like, it just going back and forth like that. And it's such a pain in the ass. I don't know how, I really don't get it. I want to say I don't know how this has an audience. I think 90% of Apple Black's audience is people who just really like Whytmanga's YouTube channel, and they're like, yeah, buddy, I'll buy your manga. Like,
damn.
Like,
that's understandable. There's a lot of like YouTube funded creations, that are like that. Like, obviously the classic example would be anything Shane Dawson did, like the movie and stuff. Like, it's just people like this.
Awesome movies.
Yeah.
Oh. I think what's really I think what's really depressing is just how long he's been working on Apple Black. Here, I sent this is from volume 1.
Oh my gosh.
Like, this is probably one of the most text, like, what, like, as I'm reviewing every chapter over on my Substack, and so I compared the word count of this page with that page from Hunter x Hunter, where it's like, where they just stop drawing and it's just the characters like talking about the powers. Forgot the exact number, but it wasn't that far off from that infamous Hunter x Hunter page where it's just them talking. And I'm like, how in the fuck, like, is this in your volume 1? Because at least like with the Hunter x Hunter one, it's like that happened farther down the line in the manga. Like, you cannot put this in a volume 1 of a manga if you are going to do something this dense. Because then it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm kidding.
It's you mentioned
you can draw a hot character.
Reading off their own wiki page.
Agreed. I will say that. Like, but man, see, I thought like the grandma character was like super fucking hot.
She's
like,
good.
Exactly my type. Dude, but then I read the manga and I'm like, oh no, she's just info jumping like the rest of them. I can't be attracted to her anymore. And I just felt this profound sadness because it's like, this was like one of the hottest grandmas I had ever seen.
She's real good. She got me a Dardanelle grandma.
That from me. See, that's why I haven't watched Dardanelle, because I'm like, man, their grandma, it doesn't look enough like a gilf for my taste.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I want them to look old.
Well, do you know about Turbo Granny, the one who turns into the cat mascot? She's pretty traditionally old looking. So Turbo Granny might be more your speed in her non-cat form.
Okay.
But yeah,
I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be hurt by a grandma again.
I totally know what you mean. I just had to give a bit of praise. I was like, this is some interesting.
Please.
I like that he's willing to experiment, with different characters that are of different ages. I was so afraid this was going to be just like a ton of, just like teen boy protagonists. I thought that was all this was going to be. So I had to give a little prop. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I guess, for diversity manga, as it sells itself on, that should be expected. So yeah.
Yeah. It is cool that, like, the fan service girl in Apple Black is, this woman that's like 80 years old. It's like, okay, that's pretty neat. The only nice thing I could say about Apple Black is like, what do they do for diversity? And that's I think it's better I just move on to the next card before I go on to the pluses and minuses of Apple Black.
It's like,
yeah.
Okay, it's like, this action manga has more text per page than March Comes In Like a Lion, a manga where half the main characters are shogi players.
Yeah, I've read March Comes In Like a Lion. That one's pretty heavy, but it's like, but that's kind of the point of that one, is like, this emo boy stuck in his own head and pontificating about life. It's like, that's kind of
that's what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah.
And this is denser in text per page than that manga.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah. There's at least, like, in Sangatsu no Lion, like, there are visual breathers. Like, there are, like, moments where it's like
visual metaphor.
Just him, like, bumming around town and just like, I'm just gonna go look at the lake.
Totally. I agree with all that you said. Do you want me to read the next card?
That would be great.
Awesome.
Angelo Wise one, yeah.
And if anyone thinks of any funny voices later on down the line, feel free to let me know.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Now this card is...
I do headcanon Angelo as gay. Like, very, very gay.
Do you want me to do a voice? I can do a gay
voice. Please.
Like the limpest wrist list you can muster.
Number 22 is called Discover New Cards. It came out in Apple Black Faction, and it's set number 1. Angelo, the Wise One. It is a card type character card. It is Dark Lore, Mentor, Hero. And it's action type Enduring. I'm not actually very good at the gay voice, so I'm going to drop it. The text is...
action type Enduring.
That's way better than I can do. That's way better. I can't do it that good. The text is, your Apple Black students are blue. So blue, and does that mean -1? Like -1?
I think it's supposed to be, it costs 1 less card. You have to purge 1 less card to cast, I think.
I see. Apple Black students are blue, 1 less blue card. And then what is wrong about the card? Can Apple Black mentors only synergize with Apple Black students? And then period at the end? No. And then comma use optimal? Yes, on this card. And then is the character referred? Yeah. And is the character referred in the effect cataloged? Characters are not mentioned in this card.
Now, another aspect of this layout, besides the fugly giant signatures we've already talked about, down in the bottom right corner is what I assume is a rarity symbol.
That's weird. It's like a papaya.
Yeah, it's like there's this weird wooden flower. There's the silver triangle, the golden ring. I assume the flower is common, the triangle is uncommon, and the ring is rare. But it might be the other way around. So,
see, this is what I mean when I say, like, just finding the few AI backgrounds made me very paranoid about more AI in this game, because it's like, well, is this little copper flower, like, what was that dreamed up in AI? Like, shit like that.
This gives me like Microsoft Word art vibes. I called it a papaya at first, like jokingly, because I was like, like a papaya is orange on the inside, just like that, and it looked like a papaya fruit. But right, I think again, it looks like Microsoft Word art.
Then again, all the chapter cards have a different symbol there.
Oh, no.
So like, is this a rarity symbol? Does it mean something else entirely? I have no idea.
I think it's a rarity symbol. Gotta know which cards are rare, just like you gotta know if Whytmanga drew this one or not. You know.
It's a very weird symbol. I don't think he would draw that on his own, because it's too like I said, like Microsoft Word art. It reminds me of like when you go on like PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint or Word art, and you go like draw me a 3D cube. Like I just don't see an artist drawing it quite like that. They would make it more stylized or something, unless it was like trying to be really fancy. Then just 3D model it in that case.
Yeah, like is that like the toxic symbol in the middle? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it looks like the fucking radiation symbol.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know what this shit is supposed to be. And of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room with the layout. Why is the card name in the middle of the card?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Like, for anyone who doesn't understand why this is an issue, go get out a deck of cards and just hold some of them. Just draw some of them and hold them and see if you can figure out what the problem is here. The problem is that most people hold their cards in such a way where the most visible part is the top left.
Right, exactly.
So you want the name to be in the top left.
It would be like if you were playing, like poker, and the number and the symbol was in the very middle. So all your cards are just white cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought up this card a lot because your Apple Black students are -1. It's like, man, Angelo is just the world's worst substitute teacher. You throw him into biology 101, he's just gonna drool like a fucking idiot. He has no idea. He can't read the teacher's notes and pick it up and make an educated guess and teach a new group of students. It has to be Apple Black students.
It can only be Apple Black students.
Well, that another thing is, like, he is not a teacher in the manga. Like, he raised Sano, the protagonist, on an isolated island before he went off to join wizard school. But he is not. And then after he is, Sano's adopted dad, more gay coding there. He sends Sano off to wizard school, and then he just kind of orbits Madame Naomi, the super hot gilf character. Like, he's just there hanging out with her. Like, he's not really much of a mentor to all of the Apple Black students. He's just Sano's dad. Like, I don't get it. So that's more like incongruencies with how the character is in the canon of the text and what he does in the card.
Yeah. Also, like, mentor student is not how I would have worded the student makes you think teacher, not mentor, and mentor makes you think mentee, not student.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like pupil, apprentice. Apprentice would be weird. I would go with pupil.
Yeah.
But at the same time, student is more immediately, everyone remembers being a student.
Yeah.
Pupil is a bit less commonly used.
Yeah, just like the way Apple Black handles homeschooling is another can of worms. I don't know. I don't know if I want to make this podcast too off topic and just talk about Apple Black for 3 hours.
It's okay. We can at least.
We can always make it a separate clip.
Yeah. Okay. To summarize very briefly, if Sano grew up in isolation, how is he, like, mentally okay? and basically they write him as like, oh, he's this goofy, ditzy little airhead, LOL, because he didn't grow up around anyone. It was just him and Angelo. Oh, and Madame Naomi, right? Sorry, I don't want any Apple Black lore heads getting mad at me. Okay, and then he goes to wizard school, and he's like, oh, he's just so ditzy and klutzy. Ooh, but then also he's really good at reading facial expressions, so he's able to like intuitively sense what other people are thinking. Like, it is legit like Iris and Kiara, the Lily Orchard slop fest. It makes me so fucking mad.
No,
I have a question for...
I was raised in isolation, so I don't understand people, but also I understand people perfectly.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't get it. And then also when Sano goes God mode and he uses his arrow disarm, he is not fucking around anymore, and he's gonna kick your ass and take names, and then he just becomes this like and then he's just overcome with this desire to hurt, and it's just so goofy. Like, in my ongoing review, I'm like,
edgy Goku.
Yeah, he's like edgy Goku. Oh my god.
So
in my review, I just
Goku, edgy as hell, like Sasuke.
So I just say he must have dissociative identity disorder. That's it. That's the only possible explanation. Like, he cycles between these three personalities so strongly. Like, how can you be like, well, I'm just this little cinnamon roll, I don't know how to act around girls, but then you're also fucking God. Oh man, you're not gonna take any shit. But then also you're this cool, intuitive, sly guy who has this really high emotional intelligence. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is what I mean. This manga is so bad.
I have a question.
I have more.
Oh, you go first. You go first.
No, for this will relate to the next card. So you go ahead, please.
I see. I wanted to ask a quick question for clarity, and then I'll state my thoughts. When you say grew up in isolation, are you talking about like raised by one person on his own? So like kind of fairy tale main character, how he was like raised by a dragon, like in the mountains with no one else? Is that what we're talking about? Or kind of like, again, Goku raised by Roshi alone?
Yes.
In that case, we're talking like, very stereotypical, traditional shonen backstory here, which makes sense because they're big shonen fans. So when you have these shonen protagonists like in manga, kind of the whole fantasy of like what makes them appealing to boys and like the reason that so many boys like these characters, especially in the like really cheesy ones, like if we're talking about, again, like what Trixie talks about, like Sword Art Online and stuff, he's supposed to be isolated and doesn't have any friends, and I don't have any friends, okay? But then also, when the time comes to impress all the ladies and to be like perfect and be super, awesome and badass dude, he has to also be perfect at that too. So even though these things don't correlate, they somehow try to make them coexist. So I'm guessing in this manga, it's a very similar situation, basically like what Chroma said, where they're trying to have that relatable isolation backstory, again, like all the examples I listed. But then also he has to be a certain type of boy, or else he can't be the protagonist, which again is a bummer. Like, imagine how unique it would be to have a shonen with a protagonist more like, like we were talking about March comes in like a lion earlier, like that kind of protagonist, like who, is an atypical for a male in many ways, is a lot more in tune with his emotions. That would be unique, but I don't think they were thinking of that because they were too focused on their shonen inspirations.
See, this is how shonen illiterate I am, because I didn't know about those two examples being raised in isolation.
Oh yeah. Fairy Tail especially, although again, like what makes Natsu cool and like why I consider Fairy Tail, I didn't respect Fairy Tail too much, but then my friend Yakuman, who I co-host my podcast with, he made a very good argument for me and really convinced me of its qualities. What makes like Natsu Fairy Tail appealing is like he was raised in isolation by his dragon dad and stuff, and that's like the whole backstory. But then when you see him like interact with other people, he is a bit of a weirdo and a bit of an eclectic, weird person in the same way that Goku is. Like Goku is an appealing protagonist as well, because no one really interacts with people quite like Goku does. He's just a bit of a weirdo. So that would be interesting. Give me a twist.
I want a little bit of Fairy Tail.
Yeah, I haven't seen none of it.
Because I didn't like it very much. Natsu is very much a weirdo, and he shows up at the like main guild hall, and nobody seems to like him very much.
That's fun.
He's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was drinking a big gulp of water, but that's what makes him fun. That's something quite unique. He's not a Kirito, where it's like, oh, he
works as a character. He's not super interesting to me, but it works.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a way to do this. I think in Apple Black, it's just so jarring and inconsistent. And it's also like, we're not going to take this manga too seriously. We're not here for the character depth and building. And so we're not going to get into, like, I can suspend my disbelief that say, like if I could use more Western example, like Rapunzel, how okay, she grew up in a tower, and now that she's free, she's this quirky ball of sunshine. I know that's not how. Here I am. I'm going to state very confidently. I could tell the difference between cartoons and reality. But like I know that's not how that would play out in real life, but it's like, okay, for the story to work, I'm going to accept that this is how this can play out. I can't accept that any of Sano's or I should say that Sano would grow up in isolation and then just you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe growing up in isolation severely traumatized him, and that's why he has dissociative identity disorder now. maybe I'm the asshole.
No, that's okay. I think what we said was a good discussion of it, and I see what you mean. Like, with this manga, I want to hope the best and like try to understand it in the same way that I value something like we said, like fairy tale. Like, I didn't really have any interest in that, but like, oh, the protagonist is interesting. We want to hope the best with these original English language manga, but if it's not giving us anything, it's not giving us any interest, and it's like, what is there to even say? But that's pretty much all I had to say.
Yeah, big agree.
And also, like, look. We're allowed to kind of be assholes here, I think.
Yeah,
like,
I would hope.
I totally agree. It's fun to be an asshole.
Oh.
It is. I guess we'll move on to the next card.
Yeah, who wants to read that?
Next card, number 26. Apple Black. This is an Apple Black character. Lily Dardanelle, student hero, 2 progress value, right? Purge cost 2, and her ability is an enduring effect where every time an Apple Black student is purged, you add 2 progress markers to the current chapter. So as long as Lily is on the field, you get 2 more progress markers every time another Apple Black student gets purged from the deck.
Yes.
Which, you know what, that works. That works fine.
Unless you want to read the what is wrong and tie it into the
oh my god,
into the Apple Black lore.
What is that? Okay, what is wrong in the Apple Black? Right, in Apple Black and in Saturday Wars, Lily Dardanelle and Neon Cloak and Training are made to parallel one another. However, the nice character Lily Dardanelle is the one that benefits from friends getting purged, while the goth parallel Neon Cloak and Training benefits from allies joining. Do characters purged during cleanup add 2 progress markers to the current chapter? When an opponent purges an Apple Black student, do you add 2 progress markers to the current chapter? That's a good question.
Say that. Yeah, that is. I'll send this.
I would assume yes.
Really, I actually assume the opposite. But again, you could.
I mean,
you could argue either way.
Maybe this is just my bias for Magic, but in Magic, unless it says every time, you do something, or it happens on your side of the field, it's assumed to be universal, like a sliver, right?
Interesting.
Right, there's this whole creature type called slivers, where it's like, they all have abilities that are like each sliver gets length, and it applies to any slivers the opponent has too.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's not all your slivers, it's all slivers. So I'd assume it's every time an Apple Black student is purged, regardless of who did it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lucario, any thoughts from you?
Basically, I feel the same things about what you said about the card. I mean, it seems on first look that it's not really too big of a problem. There's not really anything negative to comment on here. But then as you look closer, there's some parts that are just a little bit like confusing. Of course, no period usage as always. And
what is with that window? Sorry.
No, go ahead. Share your thought.
What that background? Like, is that like a ladder window? Like, is this more AI? Like, what is going on here?
Oh, yeah,
right.
It's not even on the right angle. It's not on the right angle compared to the rest of the building. It's on a different angle slightly.
Oh my god,
bro, that's pretty bad. I was gonna pull up the original manga art and we could compare it.
You know what?
I should have that ready for next time.
A bunch of these AI backgrounds, or at least what we're theorizing is AI. I would be pretty confident that is an AI background, was how weird the angling is.
That one,
yeah. I think theory, my theory on why, theorizing that we're correct, that it's an AI background. My theory on why that would be the case how many times can I say theory in a sentence? would be because
as many times as legally necessary, I suppose.
They did all these drawings of like the characters, or potentially even they based these drawings off of panels of the manga, and then they were like, well, what are we going to put here? We need something that's like an appealing background, but we don't have like a panel from the manga where it's just a big spread of a building that we can just put the characters in front of. I mean, maybe if we're lucky, we can find like one of those, but we're not going to find many. So they go into their AI thing and they go like cartoony or comic booky style city background. And then they end up with this. That would be my guess on how this happened. Man, if I'm being like,
it's just, it sucks because like you go in Clip Studio and it's just like, I need a city background. There's plenty of that.
Whoa, that monkey is making some real devious eyes in that image you sent. I'm sorry, I got really distracted.
Right? Yeah, I wanted to send this this Apple Black promo art to show like, well, Lily and Neon, she's like the preppy girl and Neon's the goth girl.
Yeah.
It would like the spreadsheet said, it would make more sense if the goth girl gets a boost when allies are purged.
Right.
And that's something I want to add to the spreadsheet, and when we discuss it is how likely is it that the background was AI. I saw there was Ricky said that there was a minor art change with the legs. I don't know what's the previous version with the legs. If I find it, I will put it on screen in the YouTube version.
They have very short shorts on. I bet it involved the shorts because the shorts are like pretty high riding up. They probably were changed a little bit because we're talking about the card,
I know
right?
The character. Yeah. I know the character herself does have short shorts.
It might have been one of those things where like sometimes when you draw them, it kind of looks more like a skirt, and so they made the legs look a little bit more like they're wearing shorts. That would be my guess.
There are some cards that seem to be using an AI extension for the cards because the manga panel was incomplete.
Huh.
Like so there is some of that.
What is Sonic the Hedgehog's ring doing in the bottom corner? Talk about random icons. It's Sonic the Hedgehog's ring.
Bro, I see. Yeah, that's another oddity.
I don't get what that means. I'm really perplexed now, just like Chroma was. I don't understand. That's pretty much everything I had to say about that card. This is called the How to Play Guide. That is what it was first found in. And it is from the faction Apple Black. And the set is number 1. The name is Madam Naomi Barouge?
Yeah, Barouge.
And then the card type is character. And then the subtypes are Dark Lord, Mentor, and Hero. And then the action type is quick. And then the text is, once per chapter, you may exhaust Madam Naomi to add her red to, I assume like add 1 red, to another one of your characters participating in a challenge. And then what is wrong? Does the added red count towards progress value modifier for claiming the chapter? Does the red get cleared during this cleanup? And then period at the end? No. And then comma use optimal? No. Add a comma for clarity. And lastly, is the character referred in the effect catalog? No, Madam Naomi is not.
This is one of the better cards to have, especially in the print to play guide. You add her with Sano equipped with the arrow disarm. It's a pretty good combination. I don't want to reference the Resurrection Games Discord server too much, but they said that it is possible to win with the print to play with the Apple Black deck. So far, it's been pretty one-sided with the Clock Striker deck winning against the Apple Black deck, but I suppose it's possible. And if you were to win with the Apple Black print to play set, you would this card would be very advantageous. Chroma, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so with the whole does the added progress value count towards progress value modifier for claiming the chapter, I think it's just supposed to be like the magic equivalent that Ricky put in there. It's just until the end of it's just a temporary effect. It's just for the purposes of the challenge, because progress value has something to do with challenges. It's just like, this person is helping out with the challenge. That's pretty much all I have to say here.
My thought process with this one, basically, what I was thinking about when I look at this one is I, first of all, don't think this art is AI at all. The background is kind of the same sketchy style as the character, and they're both rendered in a way that feels like AI would not do this, which is a compliment.
Yeah, I know Whytmanga did draw this one on paper with Copics.
Yeah,
although now I'm looking at the bottom by text box. I'm wondering if they use like an AI extender for this one.
Or just stretch the image, because that does look very odd.
Yeah, that part looks a little bit off. I can pull up the original drawing for this one.
That would be very helpful. Go ahead, hop on that. I'll continue to share my thoughts. I was going to say, basically, the name is just confusing me a little bit. I mean, I've heard Barouge before. Barouge is like a famous dungeon crawler game, similar to kind of Shin Megami Tensei. I've never heard Barouge before. It's just a bit of a strange name, but like I feel like, with how it's referred to on the card, it just confused me even more, because we have the chapter you may exhaust Madame Naomi. Okay, makes sense. That's a person's name. But then I look up at the top and it goes Madame Naomi Barouge, and my thoughts almost go like, this is the special Barouge variant of whatever Barouge means of this character, This is the Red Sky variant, when it's just the shiny holographic one. It just confused me a little bit in that regard. But yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts I had. Good art. I like the art.
Yeah, it's good art. Yeah, you're right. It's more of the
he extended. He at least stretched that background. He totally stretched that background.
Yeah. Like if you look at the way the tiles are, like they don't totally line up. Yeah, the tiles in the extended part look a little goofy, so I'm guessing AI was used to help here.
So odd. Just make it white, or you're not even right, but just make it tan. Like you don't even need really the lines, and it would still look appealing. So weird.
Yeah, that is like a lot of the AI usage in this. It's like, well, if you just put like something plain, like with the Soul Beat one, it's merch that they're selling. It's like, well, this is a perfectly fine drawing that you have. If it was like a blank or gradient background, that would look a lot better than a sloppy AI cityscape.
Absolutely.
And I don't like how all of the AI is just adding up piece by piece, and just making this an overall worse product. Which again, I will not discourage you from buying if you really, really need an AI art card game in your life.
It's pretty cool because you can see just appreciating human art for a second, because it is cool to see hand-drawn human art. You can see that he probably redid the hair a few times, because the area of the sky right by the what we'd call an ahoge of her hair, it's all like scrubbed out a little bit, which was what you would get if you erased on the paper a few times.
Ooh. Yeah, Whytmanga is very good with Copic markers.
Oh yeah.
That's ideal. Ideally, like for digital art, is like you learn how to draw it on everything on paper and then you pivot to digital. He is a great example of that. I know I give that guy a lot of shit. That is one of the things I can definitively compliment him on when it comes to his art.
Yeah, basically what I'm theorizing here is, so the ahoge of her hair, or what we would call like the bangs, the front part. I'm theorizing that in the sketch stage, when he was just sketching with pencil, he must have redrawn the bangs, like the hair, the ahoge, a few times, because that's why that part of the paper looks slightly more like kind of like scratched out a little bit. And so even when he colored over it, that's all I was theorizing about that. I just thought it was cool. Appreciating human art and human touch.
Yes, we do need to prop up the human side of this. Like if this is just the getting sad about AI podcast, we're not going to last very long.
AI frowny face podcast tips.
Yeah. Oh crap! I realize I need to go. I'm sorry.
Good deal. This was a good podcast. That was everything.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you guys so much for joining.